Hey everybody, this is CB, and I just want to make a quick video about the Jackery 1000 we see in the background here. Give you my 2 cents worth on it, and tell you how I'm using it, and maybe it'll be some good feedback to see if it's a device that'll work for you. Let's get after it. Well, as you can see, it is a Jackery 1000 Explorer, or Explorer 1000, and it has obviously your USB ports, a 12-volt port, and it has a connection up here for their proprietary solar panels. I don't have them, and I'll explain to you why. All right, let's talk a little bit about the way we travel. This is a 2014 Ram Promaster 2500 high top, and when we travel, we're usually headed somewhere, and while we're going down the road, we need a way to keep the refrigerator running, which is pretty much the only thing that is straight 110 in the van. This Jackery does an amazing job. It's a 110 fridge. We've got a big chest 12 volt that after a few trips my wife said it's got to go. I hate having to dig through it to see what I got and get things in and out, and it's always frozen on the bottom and, you know, not the right temperature on the top. So we X'd that thing and got a 110 dorm fridge with a upper and lower door, and it works fantastic. Makes her happy, and our ice cream is frozen nice and hard like it's supposed to be, and this Jackery does a great job of that. We ran it for 14 hours, and it still had 14 or 40% left, so we knew that it would meet our needs with no problem. The problem came when we were traveling and had to stay overnight for multiple nights with no plug-in. Typically, as we drive during the day, the van battery would recharge the Jackery through the provided 12-volt charge plug that goes into your cigarette lighter. But we woke up the fourth morning of doing that, and the van battery was dead, and I had to get jumped to get started. So I decided we better come up with a backup solution. Well, as you can see, it's a little bit of a mess up there, and they are wired together with 14 gauge wire, which of course will carry 15 amp. But the reason I wasn't concerned is the only thing that wiring is doing is allowing this adapter to be put on here. That in turn charges the Jackery as kind of a back charger, and it never gets even to 100 watts when it's charging, so it's really not much of an issue, and the 14 gauge wire will do just fine for that. Now, it's a little hard to see with the mess here. Okay, you can see down here is my 12 volt fuse panel and my 110 fuse panel, which is pretty much everything on the van on the left, and then the right one is solely for the air conditioner. And I've added this switch here to where I can add the van battery into the loop for everything else that's going on back here. But I can leave it disconnected so I don't have to worry about draining the van battery down. And then if we're going to be driving, I can flip it on and use it to back charge everything. And I've got just a standard gauge that I had left over from before that I put down there just so I could quickly see what we're running volt wise. You see that looks like the battery on the van is about matched with the battery bank. Well, You might ask why I would do such a thing. Well, when we were camping, what I realized is that when you're off-grid camping, that the problem that I had was that even with my generator, the Jackery, when it's run down to 40, 20%, it can take 14 hours to get a complete charge. And I didn't want to run my generator 14 hours to recharge the Jackery, and I certainly didn't want to let the van run. Well, what I discovered using the marine battery was that since the marine battery charges really quick, that I could charge it up either while we're driving in the van or run my generator with my normal home battery charger on it, and it would charge the marine battery up real quick, and then I wouldn't have to run the generator. I could let the marine battery back charge the Jackery. And using that, I've been able to, this is going to be our initial voyage in it, but yesterday I ran the refrigerator all day, and I ran an electric blanket all day, and when I checked it last night, the battery's pack was still running at about 13 volts, and so I shut the electric blanket off, and when I came out this morning, it was still running about 13 volts, and the Jackery was at 99%. It had been backfed, and it worked brilliantly. So I don't know if that's a great idea for everybody, but for us and the way we travel, I think it's going to be brilliant. Most of the time, we're going to a place that has hookups where we can plug in our electrical, but in the couple of times that we've stayed where we didn't have that option, I was pretty sure that I really needed to come up with a solution, and I think we have. Okay, one of the things that is not great, functionally it's absolutely fantastic, but design-wise it's not great, but it works, is the Jackery. That extension cord runs around, and you can see the other end of it is plugged in right there, and it's literally just plugged into an outlet, and then that back feeds the electricity in the van, so all my 110 outlets work everywhere in the van. When we're plugged in, there is a large cord that plugs in on the outside of the van and goes straight to this fuse panel or breaker panel, and that runs everything. The issue with that design-wise is that when the Jackery is on and running, if you were to unplug this plug up here, the ends of that would be hot and you could shock yourself. So I didn't think that through as well as I should have, but I mean, it works great, and I'm the only person using it, so it shouldn't be an issue. Shouldn't be in the keyword. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and hope it gives you a little bit of explanation on Jackery. It does have a 110 plug-in that you can use to charge it, and obviously when we're plugged in at a campground, I have that plugged in so that the Jackery is always at 100% when we leave the campground, whether it's to go sightseeing or to go get something to eat or it's a travel day. But I am 100% thrilled with the Jackery. The only downside to it whatsoever is the long charge time, but I think we found a way to work around that too. And I wanted to just show you, I've got a halogen light plugged in, so it's a pretty heavy draw, but the 12 volt charge normally runs in that area of about 80 watts. Let me show you the difference when we switch to the 110 charger. Now, as you can see, with the 110 charger plugged in, you get about 160 watts charging. So obviously that's the quicker, better way to charge if you can. All right, in the past, I've always used the typical AutoZone marine battery, and it works great. My only concern was that because it is a liquid battery, if somehow it got knocked over or we got a hole in it, we'd have battery acid going everywhere, and that'd be a really bad deal. But as it worked out, I just so happened to get access to some of these 18 amp hour AGM batteries. Now the problem with them is that they weigh 12.6 pounds a piece, so my 8 battery pack weighs 100.8 pounds. But because I'm in the van and they can charge off of the motor when we're going down the highway, and they charge really quick, they're a perfect solution to the long charge time on the Jackery. And I think it's just, for me, it's way easier than messing with the solar panel that puts out 100 watts with a 14-hour charge time. On the Jackery, you'd have to have some really good Promise sunshine to make the cost of them worthwhile, in my opinion, and in the way that we travel. These free little 18 amp hour batteries are the perfect solution for us, and I guess we'll see going forward. But we're actually heading out on a trip today, and we'll get a real good road test instead of just the driveway test. I'll let you know if it is a complete failure. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.